As you remember, during the Russia investigation, the president and his allies made every effort to discredit it. That goes on to this day. There's a similar effort now underway with the House Democrats' impeachment investigation. Republicans in Congress have chosen not to focus on defending the president's actions regarding Ukraine on that phone call. Instead, they're attacking the process of the inquiry, the process they followed during the Benghazi hearings when Hillary Clinton was the takedown target. Today, one of Trump's fiercest allies, Senate Judiciary Chair Lindsey Graham, introduced a resolution co-sponsored by Mitch McConnell accusing the House Democrats, again, those in the other chamber, of conducting a secret and unfair inquiry meant to embarrass this president.
He keeps telling us he did nothing wrong. He keeps telling me that the phone call was perfect. I'm saying, Mr. President, the phone call was okay with me.
Now, when you read Senator Graham's actual brand new resolution, and I have it right here, it does not propose a law or even suggest the Senate do anything. Instead, what this does is criticize the House.
45 Senate Republicans currently back Graham's resolution. He proposed it just one day after their counterparts in the House, as you heard mentioned there, brought the inquiry to a halt for 5 hours.
First and foremost, I remember seeing, that sea of men banging outside of House Intelligence, thinking that it was quite funny because many of them are my colleagues on the House Oversight Committee and have access to those depositions. So they were pretending that they weren't able to be in these depositions, like many members of Congress, Republican and Democrat alike, in order to create a spectacle.
It was all, jocular. It was really a shame, and it reflects poorly, I think, on the process and certainly on their efforts, because they can't win on the issues, so they're going to try and argue process.
When the facts are not on your side, you complain about process. I was the deputy chief counsel of the House Oversight Committee. I took dozens of depositions. A cardinal rule is that non-committee members were not allowed to attend depositions. That's a rule. And so the Republicans complaining about it, it's crocodile tears at this point.
It seems as though, especially after the stunt yesterday of the storm in of the skiff and the egregious violation of security.
Now to the California Congresswoman facing an ethics investigation for an alleged relationship with one of her staffers on Capitol Hill. The rising star in the Democratic Party, Katie Hill, denies the allegations but admits to a relationship with a young campaign staffer. Lindsay Davis is here with more. And Lindsay, this all comes during a bitter divorce for Hill.
That's right, Michael. In a letter to her constituents, she specifically calls it a divorce from an abusive husband who seems determined to try to humiliate her. As you said, Katie Hill was a rising star in the Democratic Party. She managed to flip her district from red to blue in the 2018 midterms. And while she's vice chair of the House Oversight Committee, Hill's now facing an investigation of her own.
Katie Hill hit the ground running as a freshman congresswoman.
I represent a purple district. I did not come here for partisan bickering.
But this morning, the California representative is at the center of an investigation by the House Ethics Committee, looking into allegations that the congresswoman engaged in a sexual relationship with an individual on her congressional staff, a violation of House rules. In a letter to her constituents, Hill, who is the first openly bisexual member of Congress, denied the allegations, but admitted to a relationship with a woman on her campaign staff, which she says was consensual. There are no House rules barring members of Congress from engaging in sexual relationships with campaign staff.
Hello, everybody.
The elephant in the room.
New videos surfacing overnight showing several people angrily taking aim at Harvey Weinstein, the disgraced movie mogul making a rare appearance out Wednesday night at a club in New York City. He was confronted multiple times, including by comic Kelly Bachman, who skewered him from the stage.
I didn't know that we have to bring our own maze and rape whistles to Actors Hour, y'all.
Some in the audience could be heard booing.
Shut up. No? Oh, shut up. Yeah. This kills at group therapy for rape survivors. They love it.
Bachman revealing she's a rape survivor.
I've never gotten to confront those guys, so just a general you to whoever
district, when you talk to people there, maybe some of whom, as I said, did vote for Donald Trump after voting for Barack Obama once or twice. What are they feeling right now when you're on the ground talking to them?
Well, we lost the General Motors plant here that had close to 4,000 workers when President Trump got inaugurated, and that entire plant is gone now. Those were the best paying jobs in the Mahoning Valley. We're halfway between Cleveland and Pittsburgh on the eastern part of the state of Ohio. And those jobs are gone. They were $30 an hour, good benefits, nice retirement. And so the ripple effect from those jobs throughout the community is still being felt. And so I think a lot of people are turned off. President Trump really didn't weigh in at all. He was here a couple years ago telling everybody not to sell their home. He was going to bring these jobs back. And we lost the best jobs in the community. And look, I can't blame President Trump for everything. He didn't create all these problems, globalization, automation, all the structural things we're dealing with. But he has absolutely no plan as to what's next in the United States to help rebuild the middle class. And so I think these voters are starting to look at the complete chaos. Not that they're immersed in it like we are every single day with impeachment and Russia and all this stuff, but they're watching the chaos in Washington, and they're watching their standard of living.
We're going to begin with this, the wildfires that are raging in California. They've now damaged or destroyed dozens of homes and other buildings. Punishing Santa Ana winds spread flames through subdivisions in Southern California. Now, this so-called tick fire is burning out of control near Santa Clarita, that's north of Los Angeles.
That's just one of 13 active wildfires burning in California. More than 200,000 people in that state have been evacuated from their homes. Carter Evans is in Santa Clarita. Carter, the house right behind you is burning as we speak.
This home right now is fully involved. Take a look. You can see the fire in the window upstairs. Firefighters making entry right now. Now, this fire had calmed down this evening. The wind had calmed down. And then all of a sudden, right around 1:30, 2 a.m., the winds picked back up. The fire exploded again. And this is what you get. Now, here is the main problem right now. You see all these flying embers in the air. The concern, these embers could land on another home and catch it on fire. And in fact, that's what's happened right down the street. We also have another home where firefighters are making entry. The goal right now to try and keep more homes from catching fire. Everybody in this community had to evacuate overnight.
The firefight in the canyons north of Los Angeles continued into the night as structures burned, forcing evacuations.
There are dozens and dozens of families on this block here.
The fire started just before 3 p.m., quickly growing into a major threat.
Gusty winds are blowing these flames through the canyon. You can see this fire erupting here as it hits heavy brush. The concern are the homes on the other side of this hill.
It's nerve-wracking. Pretty scared right now.
When we spoke with Marie Hill, the fire was just 50 yards from her home. She barely had time to get back from work to rescue her dog.
I just started crying really hard, thinking, oh my gosh, she's at the house, we gotta get her.
An offshoot of the same fire shut down a major freeway, destroying at least one home. Firefighters were juggling multiple blazes throughout the day. Sometimes their best option was to take a step back.
The brush is essentially a lost cause for us right now. We're going to let it burn until it starts affecting people's homes, and that's when we're going to step in.
Statewide, utilities cut power to more than 209,000 customers to minimize the fire risk. In Northern California, the cause of the Kincaid fire, which consumed more than 10,000 acres, is still unknown. But PG&E says a high-voltage transmission tower had not been turned off in the area and broke near the fire's point of origin.
Also, possible power lines down in the area.
The transmission line was not among the lines we de-energized in Sonoma County. We still, at this point, do not know exactly what happened.
Back out here live, we're giving you a look inside this home. Firefighters inside on the first floor, on the second floor as we tilt up. You can see this house still fully involved. Flames erupting out of the roof. This is a big concern. This is not the only home to burn in this fire. May not be the only home to burn tonight. Again, all of this took off just a couple of hours ago. Firefighters rushing to the scene, people rushing to get out of their communities, and firefighters here trying to put out these flames. Tony?
Just imagine if that's your house. Really incredible pictures there, Carter. Please stay safe for us. Thank you very much.
Let's look at this new NBC News Survey Monkey poll. It's just out this morning. American voters divided over President Trump's potential impeachment. According to the poll, registered voters are split. 49-49 on the question of whether President Trump should be impeached and removed from office. Broken down by party, a majority of Democrats, 89%, say Trump should be impeached and removed from office. The number is 53% among independents, and only 9% of Republicans agree. Jake Sherman, I'll let you take it away on these numbers and also on what you've been witnessing over the last few days in Capitol Hill, perhaps because of these numbers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the traditional divide of America, right? I mean, half the country supports the president, half doesn't on most days and most presidents. And this is why, if you talk to most Democrats and many Republicans, frankly, Democrats want the impeachment proceedings or some version of them in public and not behind closed doors. And it's a Republican talking point, no doubt, that they are doing this secretly. But the political imperative is, and Democrats recognize this because they said this for months. Nancy Pelosi said this for months. The political imperative is to make the case to the American people that the president is deserving of impeachment. Whatever you think of impeachment, there's definitely some uncertainty about whether the public is fully behind it or not. And I don't know how it will be done. There's a lot of questions right now about what a public phase of impeachment would look like, who would testify.
But we want to begin with NBC News confirming that an investigation into the origins of the Russia probe, closely overseen by Attorney General William Barr, has now changed from an administrative review to a criminal investigation. The news was first reported by the New York Times. The review is being conducted by Connecticut U.S. Attorney John Durham. According to the Times, this move gives Durham the power to subpoena witness testimony and documents, to convene a grand jury, and to file criminal charges. As the Times notes, the opening of a criminal investigation is likely to raise alarms that President Trump again is using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. At this point, it's not clear what potential crime Durham is investigating, and a DOJ spokesperson declined to comment. Federal investigators need only a reasonable indication that a crime has been committed to open an investigation, a much lower standard than the probable cause required to obtain a search warrant. However, there must be an objective factual basis for initiating the investigation. A mere hunch is insufficient. That is according to DOJ guidelines. The administrative review of the Russia probe began in May, you'll remember, after Attorney General Barr said he had conversations that led him to believe the FBI had acted improperly. It's not clear when the change to a criminal investigation